Good night, everybody. I'm Mark Carter with Midwest Astro, and tonight we're going to be shooting a really cool target. We're going to be shooting the Lion Nebula. So I've been shooting a lot of nebulas, and right now we're in the prime of that particular season because the core of the Milky Way is rising during the summer. Now during the springtime, I'll shoot more galaxies than I will nebulas because there's really not many nebulas in the night sky. They're mostly reflection nebulas at that point, or planetary nebulas. But right now is Emission Nebula season, and a lot of people don't really know what emission nebulas are, and really it just boils down to areas of ionized gas and dust that are superheated and ionized by nearby bright stars that are sending off a lot of ultraviolet radiation, and that's where we get these colors from, and that's where we see these colors. This telescope behind me is perfect for capturing both galaxies and nebulae, so come along with me as I go for the Lion Nebula. So I was briefly describing that a lot of people don't really know what nebulas are, so when they see them on like social media and such, they don't really know what to make of it, so they always assume that I'm taking pictures from NASA, which just isn't the case. I would not have bought this entire setup if that's all it took. You could pawn stuff off from NASA, but it's pretty obvious. In fact, the Hubble Space Telescope and even the James Webb Space Telescope are both RC-style telescopes. This is a refractor. The stars are completely different. So what exactly is the Line Nebula? We're going to be using narrowband filters with hydrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. And we're going to build a Hubble palette image, which is SHO, and it's going to be a beautiful target. Now I have shot this particular one before, and it has this amazing blue streak in it. It's actually really cool, and I'm pretty excited to reshoot it for the first time in 2 years. I shot it my very first year I started doing astrophotography, but 2 years later I'm going to revisit it, and I have a good feeling about the signal we're going to get with this particular refractor. Now I'm going to be shooting with a native focal length of 952 millimeters, and we're also going to be jumping back up to f7.5, and we're going to be shooting really a smaller field of view. But the Line Nebula is a massive target, so why am I deciding to go full focal length with this telescope and also slow it down at f7.5 instead of f5 with a narrowband target? And the simple answer is because I want to look deeper into this nebula. Now this nebula is massive, but there's a huge section of it that is just ionized oxygen that's in this area, and there's real no definition to it. There's no structure to it. It's just a lot of the color, right? The gas is just out there, but it's not building any particular structures that can be easily identified. So I want to look at the head of the Lion Nebula, and I want to focus in on all of the structures of hydrogen that are in there that are typically going to be blown away or eroded over time, and that's what we're sort of seeing are these structures as they're being eroded away. So tonight, in lieu of using the Explorer Scientific Reducer, I'm going to be using my Hotech 2-inch field flattener, and that way I make sure, because this telescope is a refractor, it uses lenses, and as you get closer to the edge of those lenses, your stars will begin to bend, and therefore they'll look like comets almost, right? They'll be elongated stars. So that Hotech flattener is going to help me change my image from being curved at the corners to being as flat as possible from edge to edge. Now the Lion Nebula is classified as SH2 132 or Sharpless 132, Sharpless being the catalog, and it sits roughly 10,000 light years away. So it is a fairly distant nebula. It is going to be in Perseus, which is pretty much to our northeast. It's going to be in the arm of Perseus, which is in the Milky Way. And that's another thing. A lot of people don't know that these nebulas are all within our own galaxy. You are going to be very hard-pressed to find a lot of nebulas in other galaxies unless you're looking at Andromeda, the Triangulum, M51 you can get a little bit, and M101, the Pinwheel Galaxy, you can all see some of the nebulas. But for the most part, a nebula by itself is always going to be in the Milky Way. Tonight's video is going to be just a little bit shorter than most of them. I don't really have a ton to add to this particular setup other than we no longer have the reducer on it. And we're going to go ahead and get this started, and you're going to see what I think is going to be a beautiful image here in just a couple of seconds. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope you enjoy this image. Be sure to go down in the comments below and let me know if you like this image and what about it you like in particular. I definitely want to see what people think of these images when they see them potentially for the first time, or if you were an avid astrophotographer, just to see, did you get something similar? So with that, guys, clear skies, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.